Hi there. Welcome to another session of 100 Days of Python, the 100-day Code Along With Me Python Challenge, where we learn Python by coding, which is the best way to do it, by the way. If you'd like access to the 100 Days listing, it's on my website at bmosley.com/HDP. You can also find a link at the bottom of this video notes. So today we are going to be doing something called pattern matching. And pattern matching is a very important way of verifying that user input is in a correct format. And in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to create some patterns, and then we're going to use something called a regular expression matcher, or to match that pattern, the regular expression pattern, to see if we can determine what kind of input is being presented. All right, so let's get started with this. And first thing we want to do is import the regular expression library. So that is just RE, and that gives us access to some regular expression things. And so we're going to create a custom function here called identify input. So I'm going to say def identify, and I'm just going to call it identify I. Actually, I'm going to call it II for short, for identify input, and that way we can shorten the amount of typing we have to do. And I'm going to say str input for the user input. And the first thing we want to do inside this function is we want to create a list of patterns. And the nice thing about this is that it allows us to add more patterns later. So we'll create a patterns list, and that's going to be a dictionary. And for each pattern, we're going to give it a key, which is the name of the pattern. I'll say phone number for this first one. Phone number, and the value for phone number is going to be the pattern itself. Now, I will tell you that a regular expression is kind of a weird animal. And so there's a lot of symbols and notation here. It takes a little while to get used to, but we will take our time with this first one. So to let Python know that we're using a regular expression string here, I'm going to put an R before it, kind of like an F string, and then I'm going to start defining the pattern. And so a phone number, since it needs to be an exact match, we need it to match from the beginning of the string to the end of the string, and not just be a string that contains a phone number. So if we had a sentence that contained a phone number in it, we don't want that to pass this test. We want it to be an exact match from beginning to end. And so what you'll see at the beginning of the string is the beginning of string anchor, and at the end of it, you'll see the $, which is the end of string anchor, which means everything in between it must match exactly with what the user inputs. So let's start there. All right, so now we're going to start adding some of the actual pattern itself. So we start with the caret, which is above my 6 key, and then we're going to have an escape character and a parentheses. Now, an escape character says we're actually going to be looking for a parentheses, a left parentheses here. If I did this, that tells the regular expression interpreter something else. So escape says, no, we're actually going to be using a special character, and this is a reserved character inside a pattern, so we have to escape that character by using a backslash before it. And then we're going to say question mark. So basically what we're saying here is there is an optional left parentheses here, because sometimes people include a parentheses in their phone number. And then the next thing we're going to do is escape D. And when I put that, that says there is going to be a digit there. And if I do this, put the number 3 inside of curly braces, what we're saying here is there are going to be 3 digits. Now, these are not optional. And then I'm escape character again, and right parenthesis, and the right parenthesis is optional. So what we've got so far is optional, left parentheses, 3 digits, optional, right parentheses. So what comes next is a set, and when I create a set, I start by putting a left bracket, and it's going to be one of these characters. So one of these, a hyphen, a period, or a space symbolized by the escape character \s, and then I close the set and I say one of those things optionally. So basically this says one of these three characters will be optional there. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is go back to my escape character D, and I'm going to ask for another 3 digits there. So the first 3 digits is the area code, and then the prefix of the phone number is 3 digits here. And then again, I'm going to optionally look for a hyphen, a period, or a space. And then I'm going to backslash again, the D, and 4 digits to wrap that up. And then I'm going to anchor the end of the string here. So between the caret and the end of string, these things need to match exactly so that it comes up as a phone number. So that is a phone number pattern. I warned you, regular expressions look like your cat walked across your keyboard, but they actually mean something if you understand the parts. And so let's do one more to get us going here. And this one's going to be a zip code. Zip code is a little bit simpler, right? So we're going to start with the letter R again and the beginning of the string match. And we're going to look for 5 digits. So \D and the number 5 in there. And then we are going to possibly have a zip plus 4. So if I was just looking for the 93210 zip code, right, just the 5, that would actually work, and I would do the end of the string. But we're not going to stop there. We're going to say maybe we will have the zip plus 4. So we're going to put in parentheses, not escaping that because we're not looking for an actual parenthesis there. We're going to say maybe we're going to add a hyphen and 4 more digits. So it would be a hyphen and 4 digits if it was and so all of that is going to be optional. And then we're going to do the end of the string. So it could be just the 5 digits, right? Or it could be the 5 digits plus a hyphen and 4 digits is what we're saying there. So those are 2 patterns that are pretty common, fairly simple. We're going to leave those there for now. And we're going to write the meat of our code here, which will take those patterns and hold them up against the user input to see which one is going to be a match. So we're going to say for label pattern in patterns.items. So we're going to iterate through all of the items here, and we're going to put this in label in that variable, and we're going to put the pattern in the pattern variable for each one. And what we're going to see is if there's a match. So I'm going to say if re.match, and so I'm going to give the 2 things. I'm going to give the pattern, and I'm going to give the str input, which is the user input that we give when we call this function. And so if that comes out true, then we're going to say return, and that does not need parentheses, f-string your pattern matches a, and we're going to say label there. And so if the pattern matches this, it's going to say your pattern matches a phone number, and so on. And then if that doesn't find a match, it goes through all the things that does not find a match, then we're going to return, and we're going to say, sorry, I couldn't find a match. And there we go. So that's what it does if it doesn't find a match. And so there is our pattern matching function. And so I'm going to say while true, we're going to input str input. Let's not do that. Let's say user str text equals input, enter a string, and I will guess what it is. Okay, so we'll turn into a little guessing game, and then we'll print ourselves a blank line, and then we will, let's print a couple blank lines after it prints out the guess, and then what we'll do here is we will say print, and we'll say I, which calls our function, and we will give it str text. There we go. And that checks our pattern matching. So let's test out the code and see how it works. Oops, did not mean to do that. All right, so let's go paste. What's going on here? Let's run that. There we go. Got it. Enter a string and I'll guess what it is. So let's try one we know. 1, 2, 3, 5. Your pattern matches a zip code. If I say Bill, sorry, I couldn't find a match. 111, 111, 1111. There's a phone number, but we could also say that still matches a phone number, right? Because it's 3 digits, 4 digits. This one also would match. Okay, so it matches phone numbers in a bunch of different formats, so that's pretty cool. Let's throw in a couple more different things. And so let's do an email address. And so we're going to get this started right. And then the email address is going to be, we've got 1 or more characters at the beginning. So 1 or more characters, and we're going to say A to Z capitals, and we can have 0 through 9, and we can also have underscore, period, plus, so we can have 1 or more of those, and a hyphen, and then we are going to do a plus sign here. So that means basically we're starting out with 1 or more of these characters, A through Z capital, 0 through 9, underscore, period, plus hyphen. Okay, so now what we can do is we can put the @ sign, and then the set of characters that can go after the @ sign is a little bit different, right? So it's a little bit more limited. We've got A through Z lowercase, A through Z uppercase. We've got 0 through 9, and we've got hyphen. And we're going to say 1 or more of those characters. And then at some point, there must be a period. So we're going to say escape period, because we're looking for exactly that character, which requires an escape. And then we are going to say A through Z, and then 0 through 9 as far as digits, as well as hyphen and period. And we're going to say 1 or more of those. And that covers most of the rules exactly the way it should be. There's a few ways that you could get around this and enter something that would be invalid that would come off as valid, but we're not going to worry too much about those. But we do want to do an exact match through the end of the string. So we're going to add that. And the reason I'm getting an error here that's underlining this is because I didn't put a comma after my zip code. So now that we've got that, we're fine. Let's do one more, and this is very interesting. We're going to do a time in a 12-hour or 24-hour format. So we're going to say time, and we're going to say 12-hour or 24-hour format. And that looks like this. It's a relatively complex pattern, so bear with me here. So we're going to say the up caret, and we're going to say a group of, okay, so that's what the parenthesis means without the escape, 0 as an optional first character, and then we're going to say 1 through 9 as that. Or, okay, so we're going to say 0 with a 1 through 9, or, which is that vertical bar, and that is the shift / key, and we're going to say 1 with a 0 through 2 digit inside that. So basically what it means is we can have 0, 1, 0, 2 all the way through 0, 9, or we can have 1 with a 0, which is 10, 11, or 12 as that first section. Okay, so we're going to do that. And then we're going to say a colon, and that's just there. That's not an escaped character. We don't need to. And we're going to say 0 through 5, and we're going to say 0 through 9 for the next digit. So that gives us the ability to say 0 all the way through 59. And then backslash space as an optional. And then we are going to say either AM or PM. Again, the or. So we're going to have that in there. And these are not escaped. So we're not looking for those as part of the pattern. We're using those parentheses to group this or statement here. And then we're going to end the string. So we've got, it will match all the way here. And this is the 12-hour format. And then we're going to say, after that, we're going to use an or here to separate this. And then we're going to start a new beginning of the string anchor because we're going to look for the 24-hour format. So we're going to say first, and notice we're opening a parenthesis. So we're going to start a set here, 0 through 1 as an optional. And then we've got 0 through 9. And then we've got or 2. And we've got 0 through 3. Okay, so if you're paying close attention here, and what we've got here is a set, this first number, okay, and we'll put the closing parentheses around that. We've got optionally a 0 through 1, and then a 0 through 9 with it. Okay, so 0 or 1 all the way to, or with a 0 through 9 for the second digit. So it could be 0, like 0, 0 through 19. And then the or here says, or you can have it be a 2, but only with a 2, 0, 2, 1, 2, 2, or 2, 3. So that gives us the hours format there. And then the next part about this, next part is these 50, or the 0 through 59 for the minutes. So we've got 0 through 5, and also 0 through 9 for that last digit. And then we end that string. So you can see we've got a beginning and end string here, and we've got a beginning and end string here. Now, if I wanted to say whether it was a 12 or 24 hour, I could separate those two into a 12-hour time and a 24-hour time. But this just says, hey, that looks like a time. So let's test those last two out. Bill@bmozilla.com matches an email address. 12:45 matches a time. And we'll say 19:35 also matches a time. Okay, so we could pattern match either one of those and it will work. I could also say 2:00 a.m. matches a time. Okay, so that is a basic introduction to pattern matching with regular expressions. And again, they look kind of to the untrained eye like a cat walked across your keyboard, but they're actually very, very useful in terms of finding out what kind of data is present. And you can do all kinds of things with regular expression, including text substitution and text processing. So this is just the tip of the iceberg with regular expressions. But you can see they're very powerful in terms of understanding what type of data is inherent in a text string. So that's it for today. I'll see you next time.